Our story begins in the year 29 BBY, 3 years after the events of Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. We open on the world of Carnelion IV as a damaged T-6 shuttle heads straight to the planet's surface. 2 ejection seats escape from the spacecraft, and the 2 Jedi emerge to watch their wreckage. "There's nothing you could have done to avoid a crash," said Padawan Anakin Skywalker to his master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan agrees, citing the dangerous debris field he had just attempted to navigate through as one of 2 reasons Carnelion IV had been left lifeless. The other, civil war. Anakin asks Obi-Wan how the Republic could have allowed this to happen. Kenobi explained, Carnelion IV has had little use to the Galactic Senate, so the world hadn't been officially a member of the Republic. Anakin pushes again, asking why the Jedi instead couldn't help. Obi-Wan tells Anakin that the Jedi are under the jurisdiction of the Senate. Even if we weren't, the Jedi can guide, we can teach, but we are not an army. If people are truly determined to write themselves out of existence, there is little we can do. Anakin is angered by the realization that the current system in place failed the people of this world. Kenobi and Skywalker hope for change. Regardless of their damaged ship, Obi-Wan decides to press on with their mission at hand. Track down a distress signal set off nearby, using archaic phrasing, asking for the help of the Jedi. Out of nowhere, a damaged airship flies past them as it crashes into the valleys below. Anakin, urgent to help those involved with the crash, is halted by Kenobi, who hands the Padawan his lightsaber. "Master, I meant what I said. Anakin said as he hesitated to take his weapon. "About leaving the Order? If that is truly what you wish to do, then I would like you to be able to be alive to do it. Take your lightsaber, Padawan." We flash back to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, some time before the events on Carnelion IV. Anakin duels a training droid in lightsaber combat as other Padawans watch on. Obi-Wan, along with Jedi Master Mace Windu and Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine, watch on from a balcony as the boy trains. The training droid suddenly transforms itself, taking on the fighting style and holographic likeness of Sith Darth Maul. The Jedi become somewhat taken back by Anakin's modification of the training droid. The Supreme Chancellor, however, considered this to be impressive. Anakin aggressively slices the training droid in half, just as his master had done to Maul himself. The other Padawans whisper about Anakin behind his back. "He's just a slave to his emotions, it's obvious. Just a slave." Anakin then uses the Force to summon the 2 Padawans' lightsabers off their belts and ignites them. "Tell me, what emotion are you feeling right now?" Obi-Wan jumps from the balcony to intervene, causing Anakin to apologize for his moment of weakness. At the same time, Mace Windu and the Chancellor discuss Anakin's trainings, as Palpatine offers to mentor the boy. While Mace doesn't believe it necessary, the Chancellor insists, holding his political power over the Jedi Master's head. Jumping back to Obi-Wan and Anakin on Carnelion IV, Anakin accepts the saber his master urged him to take. Suddenly, the 2 sense a battle happening in the sky, rushing to a cliff to see the commotion. 2 ships, similar to the one that crashed earlier, were attacking one another, with one ship completely falling out of the sky. The 2 Jedi use the Force to pull the ship close to them, allowing the individuals on the ship to escape. The airship explodes as Anakin checks on the passengers. One passenger, known as Mother Pran, points blasters at the Jedi, demanding to know if they are open or closed. Anakin tells them they are Jedi, responding to a distress signal. Baffled, Mother Pran asks, "What in the green hell's a Jedi?" In issue 2 of the comic series, Mother Pran, with her weapon still drawn, demands to know whether the Jedi are open or closed. Left to little other options, Obi-Wan begins to use a mind trick to disarm her. Before she could comply, a closed airship swooped in and rained fire down upon them. The group narrowly avoids being hit, finding some cover. Anakin asks Pran if there's a chance they'd leave, not being able to locate them. "Not until they've seen our corpses." Kenobi leaps up, exposing himself from cover. Igniting his lightsaber, he slashes at the side of the airship, causing it to go down in flames. A crew member from that ship leaps off, grasping at a cliff's edge, as Anakin pulls the man to safety. Mother Pran became furious that the young Jedi had saved a closed member named Grecker. Grecker and Pran draw their blasters as Anakin is caught in the middle. He grabs his lightsaber and with one swift motion is able to cut both parties' blasters in half, disarming them. The enemies reach for daggers and lunge toward each other as Obi-Wan uses the Force to suspend the weapons in midair, putting a halt to the fight. Kenobi introduces himself and asks him why the two are at odds. "Have you been down there? They destroyed our entire world. The Open are the ones preventing this planet from falling apart." Realizing his efforts to mediate are futile, Kenobi tells Anakin they must go, hoping they will not cause each other harm now that they're disarmed. However, both the Open and Closed agree that the Jedi, having disarmed them, have now left them to die in the cold or be defenseless through the treacherous Celadon Sea. The Jedi agree to see the two parties to safety. The group begins to assess the damage to the fallen airships to see if it may be possible to repair one of them. Open member Kolara asks Anakin of the Jedi's original mission, shocked that a message could reach off-world, as the technology to do so had been lost for generations. Just as a plan had been put into place, mindless flying beasts swoop towards them. The Jedi ignite their sabers, but attempt to use the Force to hold them back rather than kill them. Anakin, struggling to hold them back, gives in and cuts several of the creatures down. He looks on at his destruction in shame, as we flash back in time to Obi-Wan and Anakin at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Obi-Wan accompanies Anakin to a meeting with Chancellor Palpatine. The Chancellor asks for Anakin to accompany him on an errand. Cautious, Kenobi agrees, and Anakin and Palpatine travel to a subsurface of Coruscant, level 2685. "Why are we here, Chancellor? I've always heard it's not safe to travel this far down." Palpatine explains that the last Chancellor ignored this portion of their society, but that he prefers to dress in disguise, visiting in an attempt to try to do some good. Back on Carnelion IV, the Jedi discuss the curious fact that both the Open and Closed agreed to cease their fighting only once they heard of the Jedi's mission. They proceed cautiously. Issue number 3 in the series opens back on Carnelion IV, as Grecker asks Obi-Wan about the distress signal he received. Obi-Wan quickly moves past the subject and thanks his new friends for their help. Grecker and Pran suddenly notice a parcel attached to a large kite floating through the air. Grecker climbs out of the ship to retrieve it. Opening the package, he sees a golden medallion and hurls it out of the ship to the ground below, falling towards a group of creatures on the planet's surface. Confused, Anakin asks Kolara what that was, and she secretly reveals to him a similar medallion. Back to Palpatine and Anakin on Coruscant, the two sit at a table in the club Kassakar and begin to chat. Palpatine explains to Anakin the underworld activities that take place at this club, particularly slavery. The Chancellor points out one individual, a corrupt senator with a gambling addiction. "Your Jedi abilities allow you to move objects through the Force, do they not? Could these abilities be used to move, perhaps, a chance cube?" The story returns to Carnelion IV. Grecker asks Obi-Wan about Anakin. Kenobi explains he is a particularly powerful individual with great potential. Kenobi worries he may not be able to give him all that he seeks, and that Anakin has been cautious of his place within the Jedi Order. Meanwhile, Kolara sees Anakin making adjustments to his lightsaber. Recognizing his ability to fix technology, she calls over Mother Pran, who tasks Anakin with repairing a droid's central processing unit. He successfully repairs it, and Mother Pran is thrilled, asking him to potentially repair more of them, something that could help put this planet back on the right path. The ship is soon under attack by the creatures known as Fissures. Obi-Wan and Grecker attempt to hold them off, Anakin reaches for his lightsaber to help, but realizes that Kolara had taken it and proceeded to throw it out of the ship. Mother Pran cracks Anakin on the back of the head with a wrench, kidnapping the Padawan and escaping on a smaller ship. She uses the smaller ship's weapon to blow up a section of the larger ship, sending it hurling towards the ground. In the next issue of the series, we see Obi-Wan and Grecker make their escape from the doomed ship, landing on the surface of the planet, surrounded by more of the Fisher creatures. Obi-Wan then used his lightsaber to demonstrate his abilities on a nearby rock, and the creatures began to retreat. Obi-Wan and Grecker find gas masks and set out to the distress signal's coordinates in hopes that Anakin would find his way to them. Mother Pran and Kolara take Anakin to the Open's fortress within the planet's mountains. Pran introduces the Padawan to her other Open members and shows them the work that he did on the droid processing unit. She attaches it onto a larger droid mech armed with weapons as it powers back to life. This changes everything. We can finally destroy the Closed. Our story shifts back to Anakin and Palpatine on Coruscant in the Chancellor's office. Palpatine thanks Anakin, but advises not to mention the ordeal to any Jedi. While the Chancellor has command over the Jedi Order, he tells Anakin he'd prefer not to use them in such a way, as it would be an abuse of his power. He makes it known to Anakin that once his training is complete, he will always have a place serving the Chancellor. Anakin meets back with Obi-Wan at the Jedi Temple. He tells Obi-Wan he wishes to leave the Jedi Order, that the galaxy called for him elsewhere, and he didn't want to wait. Anakin, very well, said Obi-Wan as he took the Padawan's lightsaber. Returning to our story on Carnelion IV, Grecker and Obi-Wan find the location of the distress signal, ruins of Celadon City. Obi-Wan presses Grecker to tell him what he knows of the distress signal. You know, you keep insisting that this world is dead. Just then, a giant dragon-like creature rose from the ground. I'm not sure I fully agree. Grecker shoots off a flare, and more creatures arrive as Obi-Wan prepares himself to fight. A mysterious cloaked person attempts to call over Grecker and the Jedi, but Grecker demands they leave the Jedi behind. The mysterious person kills Grecker and leads Obi-Wan to safety. Removing the cloak, the person reveals herself to be an older woman named Sira. She had led him to a safe haven, filled with old Carnelian relics, and explains to Obi-Wan she had called for the Jedi's help. The relics were all she could salvage of the once beautiful Carnelion IV, and would allow for a new generation to rebuild, a generation of neither open or closed, who both sought to kill her. Meanwhile, back at the Open's fortress, Mother Pran convinces Anakin to tell her where the distress signal came from, telling him Grecker was plotting against his master, and that the droids he helped reactivate would allow them to end this war. Cautious, but wanting to help his master, Anakin reveals the distress signal's location. Pran leaves Anakin guarded by Open member children as she leads a charge against the Close. In the final issue of the comic series, Kolara apologizes to Anakin for Mother Pran's actions. She didn't want her to hurt him. She also tells him about an individual they know as the Scavenger, the person responsible for the floating parcel they encountered earlier. Both the Open and Closed saw this person as a distraction, corrupting the youth into thinking there was anything besides war. The group of kids decide to set out and find a way to save the Scavenger from the oncoming attacks. Meanwhile, Sira, the Scavenger, tells Obi-Wan how she was able to send the distress signal, showing him an old starship and holo recordings of instructions on how to contact the Jedi for help. Puzzled, Obi-Wan asks if she can recall the color of the lightsaber she saw in the recording. Why, red, I believe. Does it matter? All of a sudden, the pair heard a loud crash from outside. The Closed had arrived after seeing Grecker's flares. Obi-Wan attempts to reason with the Closed, but Grecker, still alive, returns and orders the Closed to begin to fire. Kenobi uses his saber to block the oncoming bullets and leaps away from his attackers. In opportune timing, the Open arrive outfitted with their mech droids. They unleash their weapons on the closed and soon turn to Obi-Wan. Just as Mother Pran was about to fire, Anakin swooped in on a flying machine he had built to save his master. Kolara meets with the scavenger and talks about her mission of rebuilding the planet, hoping to reach the youth of this world through the relics she had been leaving for them to find. She tells Kolara, however, that all of this is over now, and that the Jedi had led both the Open and closed to her. Obi-Wan and Anakin rush off to the starship in the scavenger's collection and call out to the Republic for help. The Republic arrives, and Anakin asks Obi-Wan how he convinced the Republic to help a world they wanted nothing to do with. He told them the planet was rich in Tabana gas, a white lie to get them to intervene in the current situation. Anakin questioned why they believed his claims. The Republic did not come here because of Obi-Wan Kenobi. They are here because a Jedi called. Being a Jedi is not just about power, or lightsabers, or even skill with the Force. It's about connection, being a part of something bigger. I am stronger as a part of the Jedi Order than I could ever be alone. Obi-Wan then hands Anakin back the saber he thought he had lost. We briefly jump back to the Jedi Temple, where we see Obi-Wan discussing Anakin's thoughts of leaving the Jedi Order with Grandmaster Yoda. Yoda tells Obi-Wan to take Anakin on the mission to Carnelion IV, and if he still wishes to leave the Order, he can. Jailers, the Jedi, are not. Yoda, however, clarifies with Obi-Wan that if Anakin does decide to leave, he would not be allowed by the Council to train him. Obi-Wan tells Yoda he would hold true to the vow he made his master Qui-Gon Jinn, breaking his vow to the Jedi to train the Chosen One, if necessary. In the final scene of the comic series, we return to Obi-Wan and Anakin on Carnelion IV. The road lies before you, Anakin Skywalker. Will you walk it alone? No, Master, as a Jedi, if you'll show me the way.